It appears that Donald Trump has reached an agreement with both Canada and Mexico in terms of trade. And first thing is that he wants to change the name. No more NAFTA. In fact, he now calls it the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, or USMCA. Okay, so I'm gonna give you-
Can I just say, because you paused on the name, he said it has a good ring to it, doesn't it?
Not really.
Not at all. No, like it doesn't roll off the tongue at all. But since it's Trump's idea, oh, it's great, it's fantastic. It's a very strong word, USC something MMA. Rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, sure, you want to rebrand it, do you, boo? I don't really care. And look, I might give him credit. We're gonna go into the details of these trade agreements in just a moment. But before we do so, I want you to hear from Trump himself. And then again, I will tell you what these new trade agreements entail.
It's my great honor to announce that we have successfully completed negotiations on a brand new deal to terminate and replace NAFTA. Once approved by Congress, this new deal will be the most modern, up-to-date, and balanced trade agreement in the history of our country, with the most advanced protections for workers ever developed. If you look at the reviews, people that would normally not under any circumstances say good things, because automatically they have to say bad. Even some Democrats say that's amazing. We had some, they haven't been given the sound bites yet, I guess, Mike. But actually you had some Democrats say this is really amazing if he really got all of that. But by tomorrow, I would suspect they'll change their tune. But that's okay, because people know how good it is. It's an amazing deal for a lot of people.
Okay. So
he's unbelievable. So look, we're the fairest people in America. Let's just acknowledge
the
that.
fairest.
Okay. So in the post game, I'm actually going to give Donald Trump credit for one honest thing he said during this press conference. So tyt.com/join to become a member and get all of our shows, including the post game that's just for members. So I'm not kidding. I'm going to give him credit for something he said that made sense. And here in this deal, I don't think it's a disastrous deal, so we'll kind of give him credit for that. But my reading of it, I'm curious what you think, Anna, is that he took NAFTA and added protections for dairy farmers and just gave it a new name.
There's a little more than that. So yeah, I am gonna give him a little bit of credit, but I also think that it's a little too soon. You have to see how this agreement really plays out. There's one thing in this agreement that I think is utterly disastrous, and it has to do with pharmaceutical drugs. We'll get to that in just a minute. But yeah, if you want like an overall look at what he's done, the agreement sets new rules for automobile production, meant to incentivize production of cars and trucks in countries that pay higher wages. That's good. It reduces barriers for American dairy farmers to sell cheese, milk, and other products to Canada. It retains a tribunal for resolving trade disputes that the United States had sought to eliminate.
But I want to give context there, because there's three things that they mentioned there. The cars is in reference to how Trump wanted to do extra tariffs on cars that come from Canada. So now we will not be doing that. Now, and I will say this, look, if you use those tariffs as a threat, and then in return you get the dairy farmer concession from Canada, okay, good. And this is when you're supposed to renegotiate a deal, and we talked about that in the context of other tariffs. There's that time to do it and time not to do it, right? So, okay, well played. You got the dairy farmers back. Again, we're telling you as it is, whether we dislike Trump on other issues, okay? But it is like, so that was not a big win for us. It was just, we're just not going to do a tariff we were going to do. The dairy farmer thing is a win. And then the last thing that was mentioned in that quote about adjudicating things is what Canada wanted. So we gave them something back in return. Now, in terms of the dairy farmer thing, what was the big concession we got from Canada? That they will treat our farmers the same as they treat farmers in Europe and Asia.
Which I'm sure is a very difficult thing to do. Look, I'm gonna keep it 100. I'm an American. I have deep concerns with the way we process food, right? Especially meat and dairy and all that. I think that other countries literally have had an incentive in not importing American meat or dairy. Just keeping it 100, we're pumping everything with hormones and antibiotics. So again, that's why you go to other countries and they specify that their meat is not from the United States, so it's okay, it's safe to eat it. But anyway, let me give you more details into that. The thing that kind of made me a little uncomfortable with this deal is like forcing them to import American dairy. So the new agreement gradually opens the Canadian market to more exported American dairy products, including fluid milk, cream, butter, skim milk powder, cheese, and other dairy products. Canada agreed to eliminate a program that helps Canadian sellers of certain milk products at home and abroad. So that was the biggest concession from Canada, I think.
Look, we have a subtle difference here, but I think it's a win. The an American president is supposed to argue on behalf of American industries. And there's a lot worse. We sell weapons that kill thousands of people. Milk, I'll take it. So fair is fair, right? But is it a gigantic win?
It's no.
No, like the big concession we got is that Canada will treat us the same as Europe and Asia when it comes to milk and other things that affect dairy farming. It's not a thing that turned what Trump called the worst deal ever signed. That's what he said about NAFTA. To now, you saw him saying, everybody's talking about how this is one of the best deals ever. Such a strong deal. Really? The whole thing was just milk. NAFTA would have been great if it had milk in it too. Got milk, and that solved it. That solved it.
So he's helping the dairy farmers, but he's also helping the pharmaceutical industry as well. Okay, so let's go to that. Graphic 21. The provision to extend the intellectual property protections of American pharmaceutical companies selling prescription drugs in Canada. That's also included in this new deal.
Huge way to the drug companies.
That's a huge, yes, absolutely. And it's going to increase drug prices in Canada. It will grant longer protections to American biologic drugs against biosimilar competitors. And it will definitely raise the profits of those drug makers when they sell in Canada. So Trump is essentially looking out for those dairy farmers who are likely to vote for him, keeping it 100, and also the pharmaceutical companies, which he had argued that he would go after should he get elected. Oh, I'm gonna make sure we negotiate those drug prices, ridiculous. He hasn't done any of that. Pharmaceutical prices for Americans, through the roof, always has been, always will be, as long as we have these liar politicians. And now the prices will probably go up in Canada as well based on these longer intellectual property protections. By the way, one other quick thing that I wanted to mention, we're getting involved in wine as well. So apparently this new agreement mandates that the mandate essentially says that in stores in Canada where they only specifically sell wine from their own country, they can't do that anymore. They have to now include American wine as well.
Yeah, I'd like to get into the wine business right about now.
Yeah.
Okay, so last thing on this is important. What I predicted was that Trump would come into office and just change the names. I literally said this. Change the names of the trade deals and now say they went from the worst deal to the best deal, okay? And I joked around how he would change Trans-Pacific Partnership to Trump-Pacific Partnership and then say, it's now wonderful, it's fantastic, I renegotiated, I'm such a good deal maker.
It's so beautiful.
Right, and here we have in essence exactly that. So what was the progressive critique of TPP and NAFTA? It was that it allows corporations to write the rules instead of the real representatives of the American people, the Canadians, the Mexicans, et cetera, right? By the way, you can tell that this is not a very progressive deal because they rushed it through before Obrador takes office in Mexico. That was their deadline because it has to be 90 days before then. And Obrador is a progressive. They're like, oh, progressive's not gonna like this deal because this is a very pro-corporate deal. So at the end of the day, what happened? Yes, we got to win on dairy farmers, but instead of us paying lower prices from drugs from Canada, Canada is now forced to pay higher drug prices from drugs from America. So once again, corporate interests win, we all lose, but hey, Donald Trump called it a different name. So now he says it's the best deal ever made. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.